How you guys doing today? Today I want to talk about the best way to get a credit limit increase. I want to talk about some of the things to check before you're looking for to get a credit increase, how to ask for a credit increase, and then obviously we'll end it out with the benefits. So stay tuned. My name is Jay, and welcome to Ask a Debt Collector, a subsidiary of Clear and Strategic. Now, I've been in the debt collection industry for over 15 years. I've done it all, from management to owning 2 debt collection companies. Over the last 10 years, I've been the go-to guy for friends and family for questions regarding debt and credit. Now I want to be that person for you. If you have any questions, put them down in the comment section. I promise I'll answer those questions. Let's go. Let's get right into it. Like most people, I'll give a story of myself. I started out with a Capital One card. For those of you who've been following me, you know I talk about Capital One. I no longer possess a Capital One card. I actually will be possibly trying to rekindle that relationship, and that will be for another video. Nevertheless, I started out with a Capital One credit card. And like most Americans, when we get a credit card and we don't have much knowledge about it, you just get the credit card, right? Whatever limit they give you, as far as I was concerned, I figured, when I got this credit card, I got a $300 limit, and I thought, okay, I'll have a $300 limit for the duration of the time of having this credit card, right? And then you find out, for myself, maybe 3 years later, I got an increase, and I never requested for one, but due to my great payment history on the credit card, I got a credit limit increase, and I think I jumped up from $300 to like $3,000. And I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again for those of you who don't know. But basically, I had got the credit card. It was an offer that came in for someone else. I applied for it. I got approved for it, $300. And I pretty much had the card maxed out for the most part. I had a $300 limit. I pretty much kept it at like $250 or higher for 2-3 years. And finally, in that time span, I was about to pay the balance off, and I remember going to look online, and boom, it went from the $300 to $3,000, and I couldn't believe it. So instead of paying the credit card off like I should have, I ended up just maxing that out. Eventually, it got sent to collections, and I ended up owing. But I say that to say this: most of us, first of all, don't have a strategic plan on what to do to get a credit increase, and we don't know exactly where to go or how to do it. So what ends up happening, most of us, we just wait. And typically, a year after having a credit card, 2 years after having a credit card, the credit card company will evaluate what it is that you've been doing as far as your credit history goes. And a lot of times they'll just give you an increase without even asking. But that is not the strategy that I recommend here, and we will get into what to actually do. So, starting from the beginning, if you have a credit card and you're looking at getting a credit card increase, there are a few things that need to be happening with your credit profile. Number one, you want to make sure you don't have any late payments. Why would a company give you a credit increase if you have a late payment, right? As I've always stated, your credit history represents 35% of your credit score on the FICO side of things. And having a late payment is definitely going to kill your chances of getting a credit limit increase with whatever credit card a lot of times. If you have a bad rapport with them, they're not going to give you extra credit. So you got to make sure you don't have any late payments. The second thing that you want to look at before actually asking for a credit card increase is the card that you're actually requesting to get the increase on. Make sure that you are using the card regularly. You're using the card, you're paying it off. You're using the card, you're paying it off. You're using the card, not necessarily maxing it out, but, using a large amount of the card, and you're paying it off. Why? I've gotten declined on a couple of credit cards in general for credit card increases due to the fact that they say I don't use the card enough. I may use it once a month, and I pay it off. And so they want to justify giving you a credit increase. And a lot of times, in order to justify giving you a credit increase, is because whatever the credit limit that you have now, you've exceeded that limit. And not by overcharging it, but you've charged up you know, you had a $500 balance, you charged up $500, you paid it off. You charged up $300, you paid it off. You charged up $100, you paid it off. And they like to see that over the course of time. So make sure you're actually using the credit card. And then the third thing that you want to make sure that is not on your credit profile before asking for a credit limit increase is that you don't have any collection accounts or charge-offs, right? Because the chance is typically if a person has a charge-off on a credit card or some type of account that they did not pay, it was sent to collections, chances are you may in fact do that with them. So they want to see a clean credit history before giving you an increase. So those are 3 things to look at before actually requesting it. Now I want to get into how to ask. Today's day and age, with the internet, with these apps and so forth, it makes it a lot easier. I am a person who don't want to get on the phone and ask for a credit limit increase. I don't want them asking me any questions about it or whatnot in the beginning. Obviously now I know what to say and how to do it. But with a lot of credit card companies now, if you have an app and you have a line of credit with them or you have a credit card, it's just a simple button. You can go right onto the app and you can say, I want a credit limit increase. You can click that information with regards to that. They may have some security questions and some stuff to ask you as far as your annual income and so forth, and then the amount that you want to be increased. And so a lot of times, you know, with asking on an app, I'm not going to go into, you know, the specific ways in which to ask, but I've been approved for as much as $15,000 limit increase all the way down to $1,000 limit increase. It just depends on your history and what you've done with that card. But the cool thing is you don't have to go on the phone and call them. A lot of these companies provide a way where you can ask for a credit increase with a touch of a button. The second way is the way that a lot of people don't like to do, including myself at one point, and that's calling, right? You may look on the app, you may look on the website, you may realize in your account that there's no way to request an increase with the touch of a button, so you may have to call them. And within calling them, obviously, you just let them know you want a credit increase. They'll evaluate the information. They may ask for the information, the same information you would update in the actual app, and boom, you can request an increase by phone. And the second strategy, and this is the strategy that I give to a lot of people with regards to credit cards in general, is ask for a credit increase twice a year. When I say twice a year, every 6 months. That's what I do with regards to my credit cards. It's what I tell every single client to do with regards to your credit cards every single 6 months. Don't wait for them to give you a credit increase. You'll be waiting for a very long time, but every 6 months you can request an increase. I do it across the board on all my credit cards, and for the most part, 80% of the time, I get a credit increase. I'm actually going to do a video, so stay tuned with regards to about a week ago, I did a credit increase across the board on all of my credit cards. I've gotten a lot of more credit with regards to the credit cards in general, but every 6 months is what I recommend every single person request for an increase on your credit. Now, let's get into the benefits of getting a credit increase and getting approved for it. The cool thing about it is once you get approved for a credit card increase, for those of you who have been approved for one, especially if it happens within the first 10 or 15 minutes because you've prepared and you've done all the things that I said in the beginning with regards to getting approved for the credit increase, that increase happens immediately. So if you had a $1,000 credit card, you got approved for $4,000 credit increase, as soon as you're approved for it, right then and there with that credit card, you'll have a $5,000 limit once you're approved. And it's available typically right after you're approved for that limit. The second thing that's a benefit, and a lot of times this happens with a lot of credit cards, I'm going to speak on American Express in general, is you get a soft pull. Now, for those of you who don't know the difference between a hard pull and a soft pull, a hard pull is actually a record as an inquiry on your credit profile, and it actually drops your FICO score. A soft pull is where they're actually able to look at your credit profile, and it does not affect your FICO score. So you're not going to drop points or anything along those lines. So when you're asking for a credit increase, that's really awesome because that won't affect a lot of times with regards to that. Now, some companies, they do a hard pull, but for the most part, if you already have history with that specific credit card company, you're asking just for an increase, they'll do a soft pull. And a lot of times, as long as all of your stuff is in order and you use the card and so forth, you'll get that increase twice a year. And the third benefit of it is it helps with your credit history. Now, I'm a big advocate. The last video I said when to apply for a new credit card. But in this case, getting a credit card increase sometimes is a lot better than getting a new credit card. Because when you get a new credit card, it affects your credit history. Let's say you had the credit card, you had a credit card for 2 years. You add a brand new credit card, which you're approved for because your credit is good. And you hired us down below for a 20-minute free consultation. You got from the 4s, the 5s, and 6s, you got to the 700 club. That information's down below. Be sure to click in if you're not in the 700 club, and we can help you get there. And when you get that new credit card, it affects your credit history. Your credit history is the amount of time that you've had credit for. So if you had a credit card for 2 years, then you just get approved for a credit card and you only had it for a month, your credit history goes from 2 years. It may drop as an overall credit history down lower, right? I have credit cards that I've had for 7 years. I've had credit cards that I've had for 1 year. My overall credit history, average credit length is 3 years and some months or whatnot. So when you get a credit limit increase, let's say I got a credit card, I have $1,000. I went and applied for another credit card. I got approved for a $3,000 credit card. Your credit history and your credit history is going to drop. But if I just had that $1,000 credit card and I had it for 3 years and then I get a credit limit increase and I get approved, they only do a soft pull, and now I got $4,000 worth of available credit on one credit card, it will not affect my credit history and my credit length, therefore affecting my FICO score, right? That's why a lot of times when you apply for new credit, whether it's an installment or a revolving loan, you'll see your credit drop a little bit with regards to that. Now, if you like the information, I did allude to it before. You want these tips and many, many more. Down below is a free 20-minute consultation. Sign up for it. Let's see if we're a great fit. Let's see if I can take you from where you're at to where you need to be. Now is the time to invest in yourself, and one of the best ways to invest in yourself is to start with your credit. Look at credit as not another bill. It is a down payment on your future, and I am living proof of that. So ultimately, if you want to be approved for a credit limit increase, these are the steps that I would take with regards to that. Make sure your credit is in order. Make sure you're using the actual credit card that you're saying you're going to use, and make sure you're asking for those credit increases every 6 months. It's not going to hurt you, especially if it's a soft pull. If you don't get approved for the increase, they'll tell you why. You'll just wait 6 more months and do it again. Don't wait for them to give you that credit increase. Now, if you have any questions, put them down in the comment section. I promise I'll answer those questions. And as I always state, you